Hey guys, welcome back to another week online. So this week I just wanted to create this really brief video in order to show you what I want you to accomplish this week and what I want you to submit as your assignment. So remember, as all of this is going on, what you're doing is you're really beginning to work on your essay. Okay, that's what we're focusing on, is you writing your essay. So you're starting to put those pieces together, and these activities are supposed to help you do that. So last week you submitted something to me like this. This was my pre-outline that I did with my working thesis at the top, and I have bolded the Roman numerals, which should serve as the topic sentences, just as a refresher. And then underneath I have the quotes that I would use, right, like here, in order to support this specific point. Why are honeybees important? Obviously, that's something that I have to prove to my audience in order for them to understand why I'm even writing about this in the first place and why a dwindling honeybee population would be a big deal. So what I want to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this just so you can see what's going on. I'm going to use all of this, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to make a new page here. Okay, and then this is the page that I will paste, copy and paste, save it, for your, to show you as a sample, I'm sorry, for what you are going to submit to me. Okay, so this week is all about integrating quotes. And so this is how we're going to do that. So I'm actually going to sit here and write a paragraph incorporating all of these quotes. So your assignment for this week is to write a paragraph where you integrate the quotes that you chose from your pre-outline. So I'm just picking my first one, Roman numeral 1, why are honeybees important? Okay, so that means that the first sentence that I state should really kind of answer that question. So my topic sentence will be something like this. Honeybees are a vital source of our food production. And I can say that because I know that from the quotes that I've chosen, that's what it's talking about, right? It's talking about the value of honeybees and how they're able to pollinate our crops. Okay. And now I want to present a quote. So in fact, it was stated in a recent article that I'm ready for a quote. I'm just going to take the first one. And actually, since I already got everything in its proper form, I'm just going to copy and paste this whole thing so you can see how simple this is. And this is what you're going to do. This is a model for what you're going to do when you're actually writing your paper. Okay, so you see how seamless that sounds? I'm introducing the quote. In fact, it was stated in a recent article that almost a third of global farm output depends on animal population, largely by honeybees. Okay, so in this part, I'm actually introducing, right? I'm actually introducing the quote so that it's not just dropped in, right? And I'm making it sound seamless. If I were reading this aloud and you could not see the quotation marks and the in-text citation, you wouldn't know that there were two different voices talking. So that's what we mean by integrating sources very smoothly. Now that I've had the quote introduced and I've presented the quote to the reader, then I need to do the third thing on my agenda, and that would be to explain why this matters. So here's what this means. So in terms of what I'm talking about, therefore shortages in the honeybee population could put the world's access to food supply in serious jeopardy. Okay, that sounds pretty good. So do you see what's happening here? There's like a system of 3 that's going on. So I'm going to write this. I'm going to put these notes in this document so that I can save it and post it for you as a sample. So remember, first, you want to introduce the quote. Second, you want to present the quote. Third, it drives me nuts when that doesn't capitalize. Okay, and then third, you want to explain the quote's relevance to your point. So remember, the point that I'm making is that honeybees are a vital source of our food production, right? This is my topic sentence. So I'm going to bold it for emphasis, right? This is what I got from this statement here. And so in order to make this, to create a circle, right, this should kind of like circle back around itself. This should circle back around to the topic sentence. So how I'm proving the topic sentence is, we need honeybees for food production. They're responsible for a third of global farm output. So if honeybee population dwindles around the world, it could put our access to food supply in jeopardy. Okay, do you see how that makes sense? So that's me connecting the dots. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my next quote. Okay, so I'm going to give specific examples now. This feels like the time where I would be getting specific. So I'm going to use this next quote. I'm just going to go in order, actually. So what I did was, in the pre-outline, after I put my pre-outline together, then I actually put the quotes in the order that I thought they would appear in the paragraph. So that way, when I'm writing and I'm going through and I'm doing this, I can do this in a variety of ways. I can highlight this and maybe, I don't know, you can do a variety of things. You can do like a strike through for each quote that you've used, as you're going along. It really depends upon you, but I like to do that to kind of remind me where I am in the paragraph. That way, if I'm working in this document, I can save the document and then I can open it back up and look at this and see exactly where I left off. Okay, so on to the next sentence. Although some of the crops, such as corn, wheat, and rice, are all pollinated by wind, and I'm not done with this sentence, okay, the world relies on animal pollination for the following crops. That's a way for me to get both of these quotes in at once. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to emphasize the fact that corn, wheat, and rice are staples. So I want to use that word. So I'm going to do a quote here, and then I'm going to put staple in brackets. Now let me explain why I'm making that choice. I want to emphasize the importance of corn, wheat, and rice, right? That's the basis of our food supply, right? Starches, things that we can grow, things that last a long time on the shelf, things that are easy to transport. We have so many food products that derive from corn. Corn is easy to grow in mass amounts, so is wheat, and so is rice. So we've got corn, bread, and rice. Those are things that if you're starving, if you're even in this pandemic right now, the first thing that I saw empty off those grocery shelves was rice. So rice is a really important staple. So I want to emphasize the fact that it's a staple crop. Now, because this is something that Evans Pritchard said on page 79, I don't want to use the word staple or staples and not quote it because it's not my original idea, right? It's not my writing. But if I include staples, staples plural doesn't make sense in this sentence. So it would read, although some of the staples crops, and that doesn't make sense. I need to change the plurality of the word to singularity, right? It needs to be singular. So I'm going to say staple, but because it's not my word, I'm going to put it in quotes. And because I've now changed the form of the word, I'm going to put it in brackets. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, because that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to strike through this because I've used this now. Now I've got to figure out how to incorporate this quote. Now here's the thing. This quote is kind of long. It's over 3 lines long. So anything, any quote over 3 lines long must be presented as a block quote. So that means that if I were to present, I'll post an example of what a block quote is in another attachment. But if I were to include this entire thing, that would just be a very long quote. I would have to do a block quote. But I don't want to list everything. I just want to highlight the things that I think are the most important. So here's another way to show you how to break up quotes. So I'm just going to take certain parts of it. So we're going to start at the beginning. Nuts, right? These are the other crops that are very popular. Nuts, melons, and berries. I'm just keeping in with the kind of punctuation they're using here because I'm quoting, so I have to. And then I'm going to cut out some stuff, so I'm going to do an ellipsis, right? Ellipses. Fruits, apples, onions, broccoli, cabbage, sprouts. What else can I do? Let's skip down to coffee and cocoa. I'm trying to pick the things that I know are going to be the most popular, the things that people might care about the most. So I'm always writing with the idea that nobody cares about what I'm writing about, so I have to make them care about it, right? So you see how I can use the ellipses here to just kind of break out that longer quote, and then I don't have to do a block quote. Okay, so that's that one. Okay. What can I say here? Okay, and I need to do the same thing. I need to explain the quote's relevance to the point. So it would be difficult to conceive of life as we know it without these crops. Imagine walking into a grocery store, which is maybe not so far-fetched now, but hence the pandemic and all, but imagine walking into a grocery store and not being able to purchase these items for months at a time, right? This will change everything, essentially, right? So now I'm going to get back to wrapping up the paragraph, right? I've used most of the quotes. There's still one here that I could use. So I can, you know what, I'm going to incorporate this. Therefore, it's imperative that we acknowledge the fact that, and I'm going to do this. Okay. And now I'm going to wrap it up. While some may argue that farmers rely upon other pollinators to typing when I know you guys are watching me is really hard, by the way. Crops, the honeybee remains the most important of them all, making them an irreplaceable component of our agricultural system. Done. Okay, that's my paragraph. Okay, this is what I'm asking you to do. So I also want to point something out here, and I want to highlight this. So this is one source, right? Page 162. But notice how we've also got this. Okay, this is the same source. So I don't need to include this citation here. I can wait. It can wait until here, because now if I only include this once, because they're two in a row with the same source. So if I include that, then I can more easily see now that, oh, okay, yeah, this quote must be from another source that's going to be quoted soon after. And then this in-text citation suffices for both quotes. Okay, so you just don't have to be repetitive. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, if you're in doubt, then you can include them both. Okay, but I just wanted to show you what this would look like and sound like and feel like when you're actually writing. I cannot stress to you how much easier this makes your life. Okay, writing this way, because once you put those quotes in order, all you're doing is writing the connecting sentences. You're filling in the blanks. You're doing this part and you're doing this part, and that's it. Okay, and then you're wrapping it up in the end. And so that's all you have to do. This is what I'm asking you to submit for me. So check this page. I'm going to save this as the assignment sample for you this week. And I want you to put your working thesis at the top. I want you to put the Roman numeral that you're using, and then the quotes that you put under that Roman numeral. And then that is the paragraph that I want you to write. And please bold your topic sentence and show me how you're turning it into a statement based on the question that you asked initially and based on what you're attempting to answer. and have fun this week with this. You are actually starting to write your paper.